Flying to Taiwan, I really didn't know what to expect. I was told that it was full of friendly and welcoming people who would be excited to share a piece of their country with me. And to be honest, that turned out to be quite accurate. If you are new here, my name is Brock. I'm addicted to traveling near the edges of Earth to experience cultures far different from my own. And I believe that one of the best ways to do this is by hanging out with local people. My journey begins in Taipei as I was picked up by a local family and we went on a road trip to Yangming Mountain where we were able to walk around and visit some volcanic sulfur hot springs. While there, I was challenged to a foot race by their daughter and lost. We started traveling further north to try some very interesting foods, at least by American standards. We ate some pork intestines and had a seaweed drink. It was actually pretty good. I finished off the evening with this kind family introducing me to some bubble tea. After that night, I became hooked, and I had it almost every day for the rest of my trip. A few days later, a local woman met with me near the zoo, and we took the tramway through multiple beautiful mountain ranges where we eventually arrived at the peak. We then took a long walk through a bamboo forest where we eventually stopped to have lunch at a beautiful restaurant. We joked quite a bit about the full-size baby fish in our salad and also found a way to smile and laugh while drinking traditional Taiwanese tea. I was then invited by a local man to a nearby famous temple. He explained to me how people come and pray to different gods to help them with specific problems or challenges in their life. We also spent some time listening to the beautiful chant that people were singing in the background. It was quite peaceful. After enjoying the temple, he brought me across the street to a local night market and showed me around. Things here are quite different from the markets you'll find back home in the USA. It's very interesting, to say the least. We stopped to eat a local dish and had a long conversation about the beauty of different cultures around the world. I then took a trip up to Keelung where I met with a local woman who introduced me to the night market in her area. We stopped to eat some clam soup with rice, and then we ate a rice cake that kind of tasted like ketchup. And then we spent the rest of the evening walking around and exploring all of the different types of items that were sold each night in this market. The next day, she was kind enough to bring me to Heping Island. We stopped at a local park and walked around the coastline for a while and then decided to join a local group, which taught us a little bit about the grass and rock formations in the area. Then we went on a beautiful motorbike journey along the coastline until we arrived at another park. We spent some time walking around the coastline to soak up the beautiful views, hiking up to the top of a nearby hill, and then finishing off the evening with coffee and ice cream. I invited my mother to come visit me while traveling in Taiwan, and to my surprise, she did. It was the first time I saw her in flesh and blood for about 5.5 years. For the next 2 weeks, we traveled around northern and central Taiwan, exploring night markets, tall buildings, small villages, parks, lakes, and tried a lot of local food. To be honest, we didn't do a whole lot of activities together. We just kind of spent some time relaxing and getting caught up. Shortly after saying goodbye to my mother, I hung out all day with another local family. In the morning, they brought me to a temple where we walked around for a while, and they explained to me how many aspects of the temple worked. We then drove to a local train station and learned a little bit of history from 100 years ago. We all decided that it would be a fun idea to go for a bicycle ride around the town together. I don't remember what was so funny, but we sure did laugh a lot. After briefly stopping for lunch, we drove to another train station in the mountains and spent a lot of time drinking fruit wine. This was honestly some of the best wine that I've ever tasted in my life. It was definitely strong. One more glass and I may have married a local Taiwanese woman. We hopped back in the car and drove for about an hour until we arrived at wetlands, which were near the sea. We walked around for a while and observed the crabs and enjoyed the sunset. It was definitely a fun day. Next up, a kind local man picked me up from Hsinchu, and we drove all the way to Yilan. We started the morning off with some quick breakfast and stopped to pick up his surfboard and walked to the beach where I watched him and many other people surf for quite a while. It was a cloudy spring day, so the water wasn't super warm, and I didn't do a whole lot of swimming. Eventually, we stopped to have some coffee and then had a long dinner full of interesting conversations. I went on another adventure with a couple of friends near Changhua. They brought me to a historical train roundhouse, one of only 2 in Asia. It was fun to walk around and go back in time a bit. After that, we walked around town a little bit and stopped to eat a unique lunch. After that, we stopped at another place to eat some dessert and drink a fruit milkshake while sitting in the air-conditioned room. It felt great in that hot heat. They brought me to a nearby temple that was built in the 1700s and took the time to explain some of the ancient history to me. We went on another mini excursion over to a giant Buddha statue. It was so big that we could actually walk inside and explore. We stopped to grab a small snack before we all visited the local night market, where we had yet another interesting dinner. I had such a great time with both of them. I took a trip down to Tainan and stayed there for a few nights. In between traveling and editing, I walked to the local Wusheng night market and saw what it had to offer. There were so many different types of items for sale, so many different types of foods, and also a man doing a pretty interesting street performance. While in Tainan, a local man showed me around his area for a day. We started off walking along the Gold Coast and stopped to feel the water. We then took a trip over to an important museum in the area, but on the day that we arrived, it was randomly closed, so we just walked around the park and enjoyed the views. We stopped at an ice cream shop to cool off for a bit and shared some laughs together. He brought me to a unique forest where we did some exploring, and then we spent the afternoon at a popular restaurant that sells bone marrow as a specialty. I told myself that I was going to drink the marrow, but I chickened out at the very end. I was invited on another adventure for the day with another local. We explored the Xindian district of Taipei. We met at about 11 and kicked off the day with some lunch. After eating some chicken, we traveled to a nearby town located in the mountains along the river. We took a cable car to the top of the mountain, where we grabbed an ice cream cone and walked around in the rain. We eventually left and drove through the amazing landscape until we arrived back to civilization. I was taken to a local chiropractor's office where I was bent and twisted in multiple positions, which felt absolutely amazing. We spent some time talking while walking through the local park and evening market just before stopping and having some dessert. Eventually the day came to an end and she brought me back to my part of the city. Again, such a fun day. Nearing the end of my 2.5-month journey in Taiwan, my friend from Keelung invited me for dinner in the Bitan area of Taipei. Though it was a rainy day, we made the most out of it by walking around and exploring a bit. Eventually, we stopped to have dinner at a Vietnamese restaurant and discussed a lot of interesting things about life over the next 2 hours. Eventually, the evening came to an end, and we had to say our goodbyes. As always, all good things must come to an end. I really enjoyed my time in Taiwan. My favorite thing about Taiwan was its people. The people were so kind, helpful, and generous. There were actually many more people that I met in Taiwan, but I never created videos which included them. I thank everyone in Taiwan who was kind enough to help me. Until next time, remember, your time is running out. Start living. Take care.